you said MMOs, I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
Spelling.
yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, I just categorized it in my head as like WoW content.
That's funny.
It's almost full. It's almost full in
There's
here.
actually a League of Legends talk after this at like 3.
I know, VIP.
There was amazing like League of Legends cosplay yesterday, and they had like a whole game.
Yeah, where's the limo?
Oh, cool.
So excited.
I know, I'll tell you when I find it.
Good job.
Apparently I grabbed the wrong badge, but
I'm not sure.
Yeah, when I went
to
for my media
I
badge,
basically like just asked her
badge,
Yeah.
besides my other
take me there.
persona,
Because I
to
have
go
no
into the
idea.
system, like, yeah, whatever.
yeah, I know. Like I went to the VIP will call and I gave them my name and they just said, yeah, okay, and we can't find you, so here, have this one.
You're like,
I like people bringing their daughters to the Mega Games panel.
look, Carmen San Diego walked in.
That's good to see.
I found her.
I found her.
And good to remember there's little people.
Yeah, I know. I was like, don't
Monitor my...
Say my spot.
I have a sailor's vocabulary, so I'm going to have to...
We can all check each other.
That's right. If you notice the pauses, you know I'm scrambling to find...
Well, I just
see, I was
yeah.
thinking of, like,
crowd shot
calling
and
a
then tweet
beep.
uploaded. 'Cause I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Expletive if you're
I did my
like
thing on social media yesterday, so I
Right,
better
yeah.
use it.
have your phone ready and bleep each
Other
other.
things that I should use more social media, but I don't.
Well, you know, I actually don't care because if it goes downhill, I still have my way.
Oh, yeah, you're just going to leave. You said, what? I was never there. What are you talking about?
I think there's even a door back there. Like,
Oh my god, you could totally just flee. That's awesome.
It would be great if it took you into another panel room, though, and you're at the front of the room just like, ah!
I totally am imagining like myself on this panel as like the Pokemon UI, where it's like battle options where I have like
coming
four
down.
responses, and
I'm
then
so
like
stoked.
No worries. Thanks for extending the invite. 'Cause
Like the elusive
it's not an
Abra,
issue for me.
goddammit.
My parents still
just
live there,
teleport.
Perfect. Okay.
so I just, you know, go home. Hi, surprise. Mom, Dad, I'm crashing here for a couple nights.
I am back. Yay, you.
Pretty much.
Access an item in my bag.
It could be worse because I only come back, you know, when I have a reason to come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit too close. It makes me feel like I spit or something. You know?
Well, and the VIP seats are not
Splash
supposed to
zone.
sit in, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is this one?
Yeah, I think like the first.
I think it's
Well, I can't
special
even,
access.
like, if I sit back here, I can't even see the front row. So, yeah, that would be weird.
Or you just have like these little heads poking
Right.
over just the edge of the table.
Well, did I trim my nose hair? Hopefully well enough.
I think we're entertaining the person listening to our conversation.
Good.
That's good. She needs to be entertained. I'm sure some of these panels are
She's got a
dry.
hard job. Also, her hair
Yes,
is awesome.
yes,
I
thank
love your hair. It's very cool.
I like her. Can we adopt her?
Yeah, she should be on the panel with
adopt
us.
the video
She's amazing.
person?
Yes.
Just bring her up here.
Because Schaefer publicly announced it at 2:50 award ceremony.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drop that.
Okay, I'm gonna have a heart attack now.
I know now this is right when I go, oh my
And
god, I'm
now-
too nervous to do this after.
Oh crap, this is happening. This is
A lot of people.
What's happening?
Don't
This
screw
is
up,
like
don't screw up, don't
2:15
screw up.
right now.
We'll be fine.
There's about 4 times as many people here than my panel yesterday. I
Unless we
think.
have a lot of dude bros in here, in
Which
which
is a
case
tiny-
it's odd.
Yeah,
I was also going to say, it was also Friday this year.
we can
That's
take
true.
them.
People probably
It was like
summer.
Friday at 1 in the afternoon too.
People probably work.
Yeah.
I wasn't because I was late getting into work yesterday.
I feel able to take
My sister
photos,
barely
'cause I was
made it
gonna-
to
my husband
Calgary
and my
for my
kids stayed
panel.
home, and we have like a little tiny pickup
I guess
truck.
she's
and
skipping
then
this
a car
panel
with
because she
all
has a
4 of us
different
can
panel
fit
at the same
in. So
time.
I rented, signed up to rent.
Good thing it's being
conflicts.
Good thing it's being recorded.
And when I went there,
Wow, they're trying to
so I
see
had this gigantic
Terrible news.
pickup black Ram with a Hemi, and I'm just like driving down going, yes,
They're trying to find seats for people now.
amazing. So I am ready.
Like, yeah.
You feel like a boss
I am
right now.
I'm a boss. Bring it. Oh jeez, that made a thump. Yeah, it's hilarious. So I drove home. My husband was just like, that is amazing.
Yeah, no, I saw the tweet about it. And it's just like,
Fantastic.
wow.
Well, because I grew up, my family had horses, and my dad has a big, old, ancient Chevy, like 20
yeah,
years
you
older
started
than that.
that
So
Are we starting?
I feel
I
okay
think she's
driving
going
it,
to
but
another
yeah,
panel,
it's
but
just
it's okay if this
hilarious.
one's being recorded.
Because, yeah, it's like,
I drive
She's
to
not
pick
into
up. It's a
gaming
little
anyway.
tiny old
you know, one of
Toyota
the-
Tacoma. Yeah, so it's
just a
like
little tiny
barely I
bus.
fit in it. Yeah.
If
barely pick up. It is not like two people can sleep in the front and back.
You guys cool with the questions, and feel free to interject or expand on it.
Thanks for writing these out.
Yeah,
This
this is
will make it a
helpful.
little easier.
Now it's no longer one surprise. This is what we're asking.
Which way are we starting?
I would
I guess we'll
imagine
figure it out.
Steph.
You've got the escape room, so you got to go first.
Yeah.
We're funning.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you all doing? Welcome to the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo. Just a couple housekeeping notes. Of course, if you have a camera, phone, or a cell phone, please turn it off or to its handy-dandy silent mode. Film and video and still photography is perfectly welcome, but please no flash. Thank you very much. Enjoy the panel.
Wow, thanks everyone for coming out. It looks like we have almost a packed house tonight, or today. I have no sense of time anymore. My name is Stephanie Chan, and I am a very passionate gamer since I was a very little kid. And to me, being a woman into games is quite important. And I have pulled together a panel of fabulous game developers to join me to discuss various topics about being a woman that's in video gaming. I will ask each of you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, like your education or what got you into gaming and what made you decide to pursue game development. Start at the end.
Hi, my name is Sarah Beck. I'm a recent graduate in computing science from the University of Alberta. Throughout my undergraduate career, I've worked as a games researcher, working on the upcoming massive open online course in understanding video games coming out of the University of Alberta. As well as I currently work on an interdisciplinary research project called iGiselle, which is about reimagining romantic ballet using video games. And I'm also a co-founder of the blog Women in Games Studies, which we talk about gendered issues in games on that.
Hi, I'm Marin Wilson, and I'm also from the University of Alberta. I just completed my undergraduate degree in history. I'm going to be moving on to my master's in the fall. I actually am one of the first graduates with the video game development certificate at the U of A, which is pretty cool. Trendsetter! So I originally got into gaming when I was really young. My brother used to play games. He would have me come play co-op games with him all the time. A lot of stuff on the Sega and the NES. And I decided to pursue video game development because I kind of figured that I want to make the games that I think I needed when I was a little girl.
Hi, my name is Karen Weeks, and I work at a studio called BioWare up in Edmonton.
You may have heard of it.
Little studio.
Yay! I'm the lead editor, so I work with a team of folks that tries to make all the words in our games pretty. And I've been there for about 8 years, I guess. And I actually got into gaming more through my degrees are in journalism and writing. So I came into gaming through the writing component of it. These lovely ladies are making me feel a little old because the first game I ever played was on my family's Apple IIc, and probably half of you don't even know what that means. But Oregon Trail, you died of dysentery. Yeah, the very, very original version, all in green little pixels. So I actually got into working at BioWare. My husband also works at BioWare. We moved up here from California, and they needed an editor. And so I liked RPGs, text-type games, and so I learned a lot about video games after I started working there. But I kind of came into it from a sideways angle because I like words. Thank you all for being here.
My name is Susan Wright. I'm not sure if I'm talking to the microphone or not. I always have that problem.
You sound good.
I graduated from the U of A as well. I graduated from the engineering program with a computer software option. I got into gaming when I was a very little kid, despite my mom's best efforts to prevent that. My cousins had an old NES, and I used to love to go over to their place and play it every chance I got. I decided to kind of follow game development or get into it more when I've always kind of looked at things like, how can I do that? How can I build that? And I've looked at, and I've taken it to video games, and I've really taken it to heart. And so I'm now a developer at a I just recently released a game with a company we've started called Life Goes On, and I've also
I saw a demo. It's awesome.
It's awesome that you got that excited about it. And I've also been working with X-Gen Studios on Super Motherload as well.
Awesome.
And again, thank you all for coming for my panel today. We'll get started. For video games, for a long time, video games have been considered more of a boy activity. When did and why did it become a boy toy in society's eyes? Anyone can start.
I don't know about like kind of like a time frame necessarily for when video games became kind of a boys' toy, but one of the fascinating things that I've kind of like learned over time is the way in which girls actually get access to video games is generally through like a male figure in their life, whether it be for instance for me, it was my older brother. Some people get it through their boyfriends, through their dads, but generally they're not like the ones who are initially interacting with video games, which I think is actually kind of not cool.
Can I tackle the history one?
Yeah, go
So
for it.
like historically the first game I think was like Space Wars, which was developed by a bunch of computing scientists out of, I can't remember the university, but it's in the States. And basically these were like people that were super, super into computers. And there's like some previous ones before that, like making tic-tac-toe, print out on like sheets of paper.
Punch cards.
Yeah. So the people making games historically have been like men in universities and computing scientists. And it wasn't until like recently that like women and gender variant other people have been getting into game development, so they've always kind of been like made by men, for men.
So to expand on that, actually, what is it about society and even again within the educational system that somehow seems to prevent or intimidate women and girls from pursuing careers in the programming or video game industry in general?
I know coming from engineering, we actually had a great ratio in my engineering course, my computing software classes, because we had 3 girls in the class, and when the class is only 20 people, that is awesome for engineering. I know for a lot of my female friends in engineering, a lot of them were vastly outnumbered in their classes, and it's just one of those things. Some girls just don't realize that it's an option because all you ever see is these guys doing it. So sometimes visibility is a problem, but...
Yeah, because it's interesting. In the 8 years, I was talking to my friend Jessica when we were driving down here. In the 8 years I've been at BioWare, and there were always some women there, but in the past 4 or 5 years, I really have seen kind of a shift, not only at BioWare, but in with other developers that I talk to, just kind of in society in general. I think it is starting to change. We go and some of us go and speak with students in these really awesome game development classes that the TELUS Science Center does, and there's more and more girls every time I go. So I see a positive shift in that. So I think we're definitely not there, but it seems like the message is starting to spread, and that's really encouraging. So keep talking about it. Keep coming to these panels.
I actually want to like pimp, I should say, a organization in Canada called Ladies Learning Code. I don't know how many people have heard about it, but it's fantastic.
Hey, Bree! What's up? Bree runs the Edmonton chapter of Ladies Learning Code, and she's amazing.
Yes, that's Bree.
Yeah.
Sorry. Bree, can you say 1 or 2 little things about Ladies Learning Code real quick? Sorry, since we're on topic here. This is Bree Emerson.
So I'd argue one of the main things I've noticed here is I've arguably met each one of these ladies in completely different circumstances. So one of the really cool things is when women get together, it usually becomes a community. So with Ladies Learning Code, there is a chapter in Calgary, and there's a chapter in Edmonton, and 14 other chapters across Canada. And what we do is we raise awareness for women to learn the computer programming that you need to make games. So if you want to look it up, ladieslearningcode.com, we have events each month. It ranges from HTML and CSS to Python to WordPress to so many different things. I think our next one's going to be Python. And honestly, it's men are allowed too, but it's really about creating the awareness, the visibility, and a comfortable atmosphere for women to learn. And I just want to shout out to Sarah Beck because she's one of our volunteers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brie. And
can I jump in on one
oh,
more
go
thing?
right ahead.
Another element, I think, it's I don't know, public perception. Other people, my mother, who's it's for you're doing this thing that guys do, and other parents that I talk to who have kids that perceive that it's only their sons who do it, and perception that you absolutely need all the engineering. I mean, I'm not an engineer. My degrees are in writing. We have writers. We have a lot of the women. A lot of the writers at BioWare are women. One of them, Sylvia, where are you? One of them's out there. There she is.
There she is, Sylvia.
Yay! And so, shout out, holla. Thank you. But you don't, and even whether computing is a male or female thing, if you're just not, that's not where your brain goes. That's not where my brain goes. There's a lot of ways that you can get into game development. There's acting and art and cinematic design and writing and editing, and so if it's something you're passionate about, explore those different venues, because there's so many different ways you can get into doing it. It's not just that you have to be a computer programmer.
Can I add on to that?
Yes, please.
I TA a course at the University of Alberta called Compute 250,
Love
which is
Compute 250.
Yeah, it's a course on computers and games where they split you up into groups of 6 over the semester, like 2 or 3 programmers, an artist, a sound person, a writer, and they make you create a game in Neverwinter Nights, and that's your course.
It's so cool, you guys.
The other day, I'm sitting in the computing science building at the university, and this woman walks up to me, and she's like, "Oh, I have some questions about Compute 250. Like, I don't really think it's for me. I really like games, like, but I don't know if I'm like a game developer, and like, I'm not like intense or hardcore." And she like throws out all these buzzwords, and I'm like, "Well, tell me a little about yourself." And she's like, "I love The Sims. Like, I play like all the time, and I just like want to create worlds, and like I love level design." And I'm like, "Please take the class." Please.
Surprise, you're a gamer.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Like sit her down. I'm like, intervention?
Okay, one criticism girls and women receive is that we want to be treated equally, yet we should not get special treatment and just suck it up as if we're one of the boys. What are your thoughts on statements like these?
I don't think anyone should have to tolerate bullying, which I find is often what happens. I'm one of those people who I don't actually play online multiplayer games anymore with the mic on because I don't like people being able to identify me as female, because the second that happens, I start getting tons of harassment. I start getting messages. People suddenly want to really be my friend, even when I'm not very good at the game. And I just don't like that. I don't like that my gender kind of like really influencing how people perceive me in online environments. So, yeah.
For me, like as a gamer, I kind of go a little bit the opposite, where I'm like loud and proud to be woman.
Yeah.
And then I might like maybe I put my foot in my mouth a couple of times, but I will be confrontational back.
Way to go, Steph.
Yeah, I know. But something interesting, even just setting when I put a Facebook thing up about this panel, I was actually receiving some less than savory remarks about it. Just because I formed this panel, things like, "Oh, or is this like a safe thing where men can't come," and stuff like that, and things I won't say on the microphone, to be honest.
Things you're not allowed to say.
Right.
It's actually, the harassment is a big problem. Like, and this isn't exclusive to gaming. Like, I'm sure everyone has heard of Anita Sarkeesian. She had a Kickstarter series called Tropes versus Women in Games that she released a couple years ago, and she wanted $6,000 to make some videos analyzing different tropes about, like, with women in gaming, like damsel in distress, etc. And she received, like, crazy amount of hate, like just hate mob, as she called it. She has a really great TED Talk on it. You can look it up. We met her in Toronto, and she couldn't travel anywhere without a bodyguard because of like the amount of threats she was receiving against her life. it's intense, and people, she's not the only one to receive that. Like, she's in gaming, but like women in comics, like it happens to them. Like women in technology, there's a woman named Ashley Dryden who writes a book on diversity in the workplace, who recently just like received the same kind of hate mob thing for releasing a book about how to have diversity in your workplace. Like, people are just afraid of the word diversity, apparently.
I think Marin definitely hit it best. Just bullying, plain and simple, and it shouldn't matter what your gender is, what any race or any diversity you have. It should not be happening. But there is this sense, especially in the gaming community, that it's somewhat okay, and unfortunately that's one of the things that needs to change. And I think that may be driving some women away from pursuing careers in the game.
I'm kind of in an interesting place because it's really awesome, because I can sit up here and say where I work isn't like that. There are still fewer women than men where I am, but just talk more into the microphone. Okay. Hello. And so it's awesome to be able to sit up here and say it doesn't have to be like that, and there are places it's not like that, and we need to point out where it's not working, but we also need to support where it is working. And I mean, I'm looking out at you. There's a lot of you gentlemen out here, and it's awesome that you're here, and thank you for being here, right? And I have a husband and 2 sons, and they are gamers. Thank you. I'm particularly proud of the children. I did a good job, I think. And when I was talking to my kids about coming and being on this panel, my older son is kind of sensitive, and I could tell he was uncomfortable, and he's like, "Well, Mom, why do people mean just because you're a woman? You know, why do they act like that?" He's like, "I don't like it. It makes me feel bad." And I said, "Yeah, it makes me feel bad too, but we're going to go down and talk about it and talk about how to not do that, and that's important." And my younger son, who is very candid, just said, "Well, that's stupid." I have a lot of friends that bring their DSs to school that are girls on the Fridays when we can't, you know, and it kind of gives me hope, right? And that there's so many guys here gives me hope, and the guys that I work with give me hope. And there's a certain small but very loud segment of people whose minds are going to be very hard to change. But there's kind of a comfortable middle ground, you know, where guys, I don't know if any of you saw, Jonathan McIntosh did a piece a couple days ago on Polygon, talking, it was called, I wrote it down because I'm going to forget, Playing with Privilege, the Invisible Benefits of the Gaming White Male. Yeah. And he said, one of the luxuries of being a member of the dominant group is that the benefits afforded us often remain invisible to us. This blindness allows many men to remain blissfully unaware of what roughly half of all gamers experience on a daily basis. And most of the guys, you know, I wear my BioWare t-shirt around, and I have been asked, "Oh, does your husband work at BioWare? Does your boyfriend work at BioWare?" And that's an opportunity for me, because yeah, absolutely, I want to go, no, and like get it all out there. But I've made mistakes, I've said things, I've made assumptions incorrectly, and I really appreciate being given this space to say, well, I don't think you're quite right about that, and here's why. If someone gets up in my face and yells at me, I'm going to dig in my heels, right? But every single person that I've said, no, actually, I work at BioWare, has gone, oh, wow, that's cool. When's the next DLC coming out? You know?
Oh my God, an information.
Right, yeah, okay, tell me things. And that's awesome. And that's given me a tiny little chance to challenge someone's perception, and hopefully if that goes well, then they'll, you know, think about that the next time they're online, and oh, that's a woman made. There are women who make games, and you know, so it's those little opportunities. It doesn't have to be a giant movement. It's those little opportunities to talk to your friends, to talk to your colleagues, and just go, hey, about that thing, let's chat a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that totally. In fact, I've had experiences where I have changed some people's mind on an individual basis, and that's like honestly is one of the most rewarding feelings you can have, is to be able to like have someone realize the mistakes that they're making, and then they change and become a better person.
Yeah, you know, and giving them that opportunity, because if someone goes, well, that's dumb of you to think, I'm going to be like, well, fine, I don't want to come play with you anyway. So it's all about trying to keep it positive if we can. Mm-hmm.
So moving on, what challenges, and some of the things we've already mentioned, obviously, have you yourself as a woman experienced either as a gamer or in working within the gaming industry? Which And then, actually, I'll continue on with that as well, is who were your allies when you decided to pursue a career in gaming?
I've actually been very fortunate while I've been working in the industry. Both at XGen and the guys I've been working with have been very good. Sorry, I should probably talk in the mic more. They've been very good, and none of them look, it's Susan, she's a woman. It's Susan, she's our programmer. She does stuff for us, which is awesome. And having people that just see you as, I guess, as your role rather than as a female and then your role, or as something else and then your role, is always huge, because then they tend to treat you as a person rather than not. I think I was going somewhere right there, but then my brain just disappeared. Despite that, like working as a programmer in other industries, I have experienced people not treating me as a person, and it's one of those things you might not notice it at first, but once you do it, it's something you can't ignore. And I had to leave that job because I just could not take being treated as lesser than my male coworkers, simply because I was a girl. But yeah, like I said, with XGen and Infinite Monkeys, the guys I worked Life Goes On with, they've been excellent. So.
Cool.
As I mentioned before, I've completed the University of Alberta's Video Game Development Certificate, which I thought was a fantastic opportunity to work in tons of interdisciplinary teams. Kind of as Sarah mentioned, with the programmers, the writers, the sound guys, sound ladies. So I always thought it was really cool that we kind of created a community within a community. So we were all game players, and we all acknowledged we were game players, but there was always lots of women around, and we were never questioned about either our passions or our interests. The fact that we were willing to take courses and invest money into bettering ourselves as developers, I thought was fantastic. So I personally love the University of Alberta for giving me the opportunity to pursue this passion.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. When I first read what experiences have you or what challenges have you experienced as a gamer, the first thing that came to mind was the last level of Donkey Kong Country N64. And then I was like, oh yeah. No, I think one of the biggest thing that gets me as a gamer and a woman, if I'm in a social situation having a beers with people, or having a beers.
Beers is acceptable.
Yeah, having the beers with the peoples. And someone is oh, you like video games, you have a Steam account, what's the last game you beat? Have you played this? And they start quizzing you on oh, what's your Steam achievements, or all this stuff. I'm like, God.
The answer is all of them.
No. That's really irritating. If you want to talk video games, don't quiz people. That just really sucks.
Don't be a
There's
gatekeeper.
that line between, oh, I played that too, hey, how about that level? And
Yeah.
then, no, wait, how good did you do? How many achievements do you have? Did you finish it? Did you,
Or literally just being oh yeah, what's the last game you played? And it's I swear I'm not lying. Why would I put myself in this awkward
Where they're basically
situation?
challenging your skill level, or
Yeah.
trying to say, oh, I'm
Yourself.
better than you, and you can't be this good.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. As for allies, there's a lot of amazing people, professors I've found through the University of Alberta. I work as an interdisciplinary team working with we are making a feminist game about ballet. We're taking
That's so cool.
a romantic ballet and reimagining it, using Connect and interactive narratives and dynamic storytelling, that kind of stuff. And a lot of people I've been privileged to work with are on both the computing science side and the literature and film studies side, and I feel literature and film studies has a lot more base knowledge about feminist theory sometimes, and it's really cool to work in those interdisciplinary groups and watch these people and see us grasp feminist theory and learn about these social structures and the patriarchy and all of this other stuff just by working on this project that's centered around women.
What can we do to improve game diversity and make the gaming community more welcoming to women and others?
Okay, I'm using that as a segue to read a number that I printed out because I can't remember numbers because I'm a word person. So
Okay.
I'm writing this
Perfect.
down. The research firm Newzoo has found that half of the 1.2 billion people playing games globally, 46%, or 750 million, are female. So that's pretty diverse going on right there, right? So I think a lot of it is challenging perceptions, because like this is not the only study I've seen. You know, a lot of us have seen studies that say, yeah, there's close to as many women as men playing games, and it's like we need to be more diverse. Well, that we are diverse. That's half of the population right there. So it's changing perceptions. It's going, yes, look, we're women who make games. Here we are, and more than women making games, we're people making games. And yeah, we offer a different perspective. And yes, I love playing Plants vs. Zombies and Bejeweled, but I also really like smashing things with a hammer. and
In games.
In games. Most of the time in games. Yeah, mom's a tank, my kids will say. And that's okay. And you know, and if that I can play both of those, and that's all right. That's who I am. That's what I like. And you can be a guy and like doing both of those things, and you can be a woman and like doing both. And it's okay to talk about it. You know, there's so many ways we feel challenged and embarrassed, and oh, I didn't do well enough. No, I can't shoot. I cannot aim to save my freaking life. So that's great. I want to play with you if you can do it, and then you can help me not be killed over and over and over again. So it's just, you know, giving ourselves, yes. So just, you know, let's give ourselves a little bit of a break and just let it be okay to like the stuff we like and let other people like the stuff we like, and, you know, we can do a fist bump for that. It's okay.
I want to throw a shout out to Riot Games in-game tribunal system in like League of Legends. It's amazing, and I think it really helps for like encouraging diversity, because it gets a lot of those like really toxic players out of the game that do like spread like sexist, racist, like garbagey stuff online. So Riot Games is doing it right now. I have noticed though that like they, in the chat boxes, they'll like star out certain words, and some of the like gendered insults are not starred out. So I like want to write an angry letter and be like, hey man. But yeah, no, I really think that like being respectful in online like communities is a part of welcoming new players into games, and that's important.
And that's something we can do. Anyone who's in online communities, expect that. Expect that that's how people should be acting. And overtly or quietly, don't put up with it when people aren't acting like that.
Just basically,
We have a group responsibility to try and do that. Sorry, I interrupted.
No,
I have the feels about that, though. Sorry.
That's a good statement.
Kind of on the same online idea is, if you act like, you know, you're talking to this person face to face, there's some things you just don't say to a person if you're right there and talking to them. Whereas, you know, when we're online, we seem to get this like cloak of invisibility where all of a sudden we're invincible. We can do anything. We can be an absolute, I don't think I can say those words.
Troll.
Troll. So you can be an absolute troll, but I mean, if you see someone doing that, call them out on it, and like I said, just try and treat people like you would if you were having a face-to-face conversation with them.
I also think, like, along with the community, it's also up to the developers themselves to also recognize that there are certain steps that they could take to promote further diversity. I'm actually currently playing Obsidian Entertainment's the South Park: The Stick of Truth. And I really like it. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. It is basically playing an episode of the show, which is awesome. But the thing that really got to me was in the beginning, there was a character creator, and I got to make my little like South Park character, but there was no like, I couldn't choose a gender, which I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna come up with my own narrative, and like I'm playing a little girl, and I like gave her a ponytail, and she's really cute. And then the game starts, and all the pronouns to refer to your character are son, boy, be a man, he, and just so on and so forth. Whereas if the developers had actually like stopped and taken a moment, I was fully prepared to like insert my own narrative about how I was playing a little girl, and then just like use written language and like the kind of like verbal cues from the rest of the cast, like not identifying a gender, or maybe even like switching in between the two. I don't care, but just let me play as a little girl. If I want to play as a little girl and I want to like beat up thugs, let me do that.
I just want to say this is why I think Mass Effect's one of the coolest games on the planet.
And Dragon Age.
And Dragon Age, because you can play either gender, and there's romance in the game too, and it doesn't matter what your gender is. And I love that. I love that. I love that it still works and it still flows no matter what.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
BioWare's doing it right.
Okay,
We do the best we can.
I only have about 10 minutes left or so let's open up the floor to Q&A. I think there's a microphone somewhere.
Either that or just yell loud.
Just rise.
Rise if you have a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
My question was, to what extent do you think the hypersexualization in a lot of video games contributes to the alienation that a lot of girls feel in relation to gaming?
Tons. I am having a lot of fun at this con, but every time I walk by a vendor booth where it's just like a naked woman in like a weird contorted Escher girl, if anyone knows the website, contortion of her body, I just sit there and I'm like, you're alienating me. You're making me uncomfortable in this space. Why are you doing this?
There's lots of studies out there about like how media impacts young girls, like reading fashion magazines, how photoshopping does that. There's actually a really good like campaign, I think, out of the UK right now about not photoshopping 17 magazine. And games are not in a vacuum. They are media too. Young people consume them, and those images like affect how like women view their bodies and like the role models that they're presented for them. I also think it's really important to notice that a lot of sexualized characters, male or female, it's a different like kind of sexualization. Male characters are often sexualized with a power fantasy where they're like very big and muscly and like healthy, strong. Women are often very, very thin, and like that's problematic. So.
If anyone has questions, maybe if you can hunt him, my buddy down here and run up to the mic or somehow connect with him.
Okay, this is
Hello,
intimidating, I can't lie.
So, since I'm kind of dressed for it, I'm going to ask the beastly kind of question. I'm sure you've possibly noticed, and I could never quite understand it myself, but a lot of games often have trouble making female, shall we say, like beastly characters, something that's not human. When it comes to making the female, suddenly it becomes this huge deal and this constant devotion. It's really hard making a female character, and I mean, I don't know if you've seen like in Guild Wars 2 where they actually do it properly with the char of this cat race, where they don't make them look like ridiculous, super thin, giant-breasted, upright things in the middle, and then the girls are like, hello. Like it's like they actually do it properly. And I mean, like, I'll just like snap quiet in this last one, because of course, like a lot of people forget one of the greatest villainesses in movies was the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, because that wasn't a male, and she did quite fine without having to be all like, you know, look at my breasts, you know. Like,
Yes, you're right, and it is a problem. And I hope any aspiring like game developers out there just like heard that and don't.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say, let developers know. I mean, we try really hard to take feedback from people and make the kinds of games that you want to see. And if you want to see that, be vocal about it. Let people know. If you want to make games, make that. It's really good if you raise your voice and raise those issues and say that's something you want, and if enough people say that, developers will pay attention.
Next question?
Why is feminism considered a bad word?
It is the F word.
It is the ultimate F word.
That's interesting.
Because it's stigmatized from like a media rampage in the 1980s, where like conservatives came out and like attacked feminists, basically. If you want, Misrepresentation talks about it in that documentary. It came out in 2011. I can't remember the name of the woman who directed the project, but she's fantastic, and I strongly recommend having a movie night and watching that documentary. And it talks about that, how like feminism eventually became a bad word throughout the media. But feminism, the definition of it is socio-economic and political rights for women, which is just equality. It's not about a like female like revolution where we enslave the men and whatnot. Like, it's equality.
Could be fun.
I appreciate that sentiment. I don't know where it came from.
Which guys are into that here?
Yeah. I might want a T-Rex though. That sounds pretty awesome.
So I was wondering, it's very similar to the sexualization question, but this is more, the specific example I have in mind is Samus Aran from the 90s. She was a 6'2" Amazon woman, 200 pounds of solid ass-kicking muscle. It's too late. And she was amazing. She's one of my favorite characters still to this day, except they changed her recently. They took away her power, suit, and gave her a whip and a bodysuit and 40 pounds of muscle.
Samus, not fun.
Yeah. Okay, the rocket shoes are cool.
Those actually sound like
You are excellent, my friend. You are, okay, feedback, oh God. No, that is an excellent question, and I ask that on a daily basis. And maybe not a daily basis, but anytime I play Super Smash Brothers. I actually have put a little bit of like research into this, and the thing that like annoyed me more than anything in, Brawl's the latest one, was when Samus gets her like Super Smash, she transforms into her Zero suit, where she kind of like sashays around the entire field, and she's actually like significantly less powerful. And let's not touch Other M, because that's a terrible game. And I just no.
Stricken from canon.
But it's really weird, because it's almost like this like regressive representation over time, where she was 200 pounds, 6'3", and like a total boss. And then all of a sudden, like, as we like go through time, she's I think 5'1" or something, and she's tiny, and she has a power suit, but then she's also super cute, which is fine. You can be super cute, but still be like...
We'll make a new character that's super cute.
Exactly.
Then let the Amazon be the Amazon and make another super... There's room for everybody. You can be tall. You can look like a dwarf like me. You can be a T-Rex. And there's room for everybody. You can be a T-Rex. That's right.
I want to be a T-Rex.
Yeah, I'm really into that now. Thank you.
Okay, we're in our last 5 minutes. Only a couple more questions we have time for. Next.
Okay, first off, I just want to say you Alberta, hell yeah. Second off, while we're talking about girls in video games, what are your favorite girls in video games that you either grew up with or are playing with now?
Femship. Easy question.
I really like Clementine from the Walking Dead series. I think she's fantastic.
My favorite right now is Sivir in League of Legends.
Okay, there's no way I can answer this question and be unbiased. But I will just say I love Jennifer Hale. Jennifer Hale is amazing, and I really admire and respect what she brought to the character of FemShep, and she makes playing FemShep amazing for me. So props to Jennifer Hale, she's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And for mine, forever, Chun-Li. I even cosplay sometimes.
Nice.
Okay, another question?
So you've talked about getting feedback to developers a couple of times. What's actually the best way we can do that? Like, I'm assuming that there's way too many just Facebook comments for them to read everything. So how would you suggest we get feedback back?
I know, we just released Life Goes On, but we still read all of our comments because, we're still kind of in the realm of, oh my God, we released a game. How did that happen? But we read everything that we get, so.
And like bigger developers, we have people whose job it is to interact with the community. So get a hold with them. They're on Twitter. Twitter is actually pretty good. We have awesome discussions with people, and that helps us get a gauge of how many people have opinions and thoughts on a particular issue. So actually, we get a lot of feedback on Twitter. So at least for BioWare specifically, I'd suggest that.
Okay, last question.
Hi, I just actually started gaming, and when I started playing World of Warcraft, I noticed that I accidentally let them know that I was female. Big mistake. For the first month I was playing, all I got was, "Oh, you're female? Do you need help? Can I help you through this? Do you want some gold? Can I meet you in person?" And it's really destroys online games for females.
See, I find it mind-blowing too, because your statistic that you brought up earlier, Karen, is women, people know that women play games, so I don't understand why we're still treated like weird mythic unicorns.
A way that I work around that is to game with my female friends, and we have game nights, and we each get a bottle of wine and a big old glass and put on our headphones and just have it be ladies' night, and I know that doesn't necessarily help, but it can be really fun to just find a group of people, or it doesn't even have to be ladies, just people that you're comfortable with, get your guild, get your people that you know, and just, give yourself a night off and have some fun and get your skills up and get that achievement. And
There was a time I accidentally happened in on a Japanese game room. So everyone was speaking in Japanese, and none of them were insulting me, so that was kind of nice. And if they were, I didn't know.
I used to have that problem too. I used to play under a gender-specific gamer tag, and then I changed my gamer tag, and I don't receive that anymore at all. And I changed it to something really repulsive too. So now I get more "Oh man, your gamer tag," and I'm like, "What up?"
Okay, yeah, unfortunately we're running out of time, so we'll have to wrap up. Oh, do you have something?
No.
No, okay. Thank you everyone for coming. You can find all of us on Twitter. If you just want to give your Twitter handles real quick, if you want to follow up with any questions, I'm sure most of us will be happy to engage you, hopefully.
Yeah, mine's SF Beck. It's spelled out.
Good luck. I am at Boom Turkey.
I love that Twitter handle. It's awesome. I'm Karen Weeks. Karen with an I, and Weeks is Weekes. Sorry about that.
Mine is Chaotic Boredom. It's kind of long because I did it before I understood how Twitter worked.
I just use my name, Stephanie Chan. And again, thanks everybody for coming out, and I hope you enjoyed this talk today. And
Thank you, Steph, for organizing this.
Just keep going. Oh, okay. It's hard with those.
There's so much stuff happening.
Yay, thank you. I love your paint. It looks gorgeous. The glitter is sparkly. You look amazing.
Are we still posing? I don't know.
I guess so. All right, let's pose officially then.
Your guys' costumes are awesome. Yeah.
Yes. I'm just moving in on you here. Don't even
Hey, what's up?
Squish. All right, squish.
I was like, what?
Wait, are we all T-Rexes now?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that was fun.
That was good. Nice job, ladies. Yeah, thank you. That was really cool. Ah, you made it! That's loud, I'm sorry. Anyone specific you want? Anyone specific? Or just trying to... Ow. All y'all. Okay. So you guys gonna go check out the con for the rest of the day?
Somebody already got some.
I've already been shot. Yeah, you got your shot. Oh my god, I love this.
I got and I also got
I should go buy Halo. Good choice.
bring my things.
I'm going to be a coach. We got to sign up for the next time. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, you're very welcome. Okay. I wouldn't be so sure about that. I was just gonna say I'm sure it's not even the weirdest thing you'd have. No, that's the guy. You know how many analysts we have? Oh, yes, I believe that too. You guys are so awesome. Yeah. You guys are cracking me up.
Stacking them up. You know how many people we have?
Don't.
Are you guys
do you have the right full
panelists? I left it back there.
Perfect. Let's get you up here.
All those people standing outside is for this one?
Yeah. No, yeah, it is. Absolutely it is. So you guys are up here?
Okay.
How many of you are?
Just the two of us.
Two of you? Okay. We'll keep these guys down.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah. But,
okay, so you guys are up here. What do you guys need? Talk to me.
I guess I just have a little bit of PowerPoint.
Okay.
And just we're basically gonna be talking a lot.
Okay.
But you need a tech, eh?
Sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll have you guys do a little presentation first, and then when you guys are done, we'll move to the Q&A section. We'll have somebody run around with a wireless mic to get you guys questions, okay? Right. And then, my name's Keith, by the way. Sam, nice to meet you.
John.
John, nice to meet you. I'll be your room lead today. Okay, so anything you need, you just let me know. I will flash you the 5-minute warning sign when we get to that time. I'll also do a quick little introduction for you before we get started here. Mostly, I won't be really introducing you. I'll just be doing kind of house rules, that kind of thing. For sure. How do you guys feel about being videotaped?
That's fine.
That's fine? Okay, great. So I'll be letting people know that, but no flash photography.
All right.
Regular photography is fine, just no flash.
Yeah.
Okay? Cool.
The connections for, you got a laptop?
You guys have a laptop? Oh, you do? Great. Perfect. Okay. Just gonna go grab you guys one.
Oh, that's fine.
You come correct, eh?
I'm so scared.
Better prepared.
I got a DVI cable here, but
Oh my gosh.
Our nerds on site to get it connected.
Okay.
Let me know what you need. You start to get set up.
For sure.
If you need anything,
I'll let you know. Yeah,
I'm
thank
so
you.
scared right now.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Crazy.
45 minutes?
Can you talk that long? Oh shh. These are on.
Hello. Hello. My name is Ben. Welcome. happens to shoot a man before throwing the battle of play. Alright, take a picture of this.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
There's so many people.
My first words are gonna be like, so, there's a lot of you. Uh-oh. I'm so scared. EV shirt. Gotcha. Oh man.
Oh man. I'm just gonna take a picture of it.
Uh-oh. Can I drink this?
Yeah, that's for us.
Okay.
Give me.
We're gonna do all of it. Uh-oh. I'm so scared. Are you Snapchat this?
Sam,
It's just
I
nerds.
go to leave.
It's just nerds. I can't do that.
You can't do that no more. I forgot my cable.
What cable?
To connect to the, damn it.
Don't they have one? Ask them.
Let's hope they have Wi-Fi.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, I need to watch my language, right? I need to watch language.
What? Oh, poop.
I'm so scared. I've had 500 people watch me stream, but I've never had 5 people in front of me. What?
guys have Wi-Fi?
What's that?
Do you guys have Wi-Fi over here?
I can find out for you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll probably need it for.
Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Do you want to run the whole thing on your own? Do you want me to ask questions or see the audience or go out to people with microphone?
Later we'll do the QA thing, and then yeah.
Okay, so you guys have got like a program arranged that you want to go through.
Kind of.
Yeah, like sometimes the panels are like it's all just kind of wide open and nobody's got anything prepared and they're just like, oh my god, what are we doing here? And sometimes everyone has it like they've got like their whole thing organized right down to a T. So it sounds like you guys are in good shape.
We're in between those two.
We're in between the two.
Great. Well, I'll go check in with the tech folks at the back to say hi, and then if you'd like me to sort of like introduce you guys and say hello to the crowd, I can. If you'd prefer to do that yourselves, you can. And otherwise, maybe I'll just like lurk at the side and pepper questions in if we need it, or if, like it looks like you've got a great turnout.
I'm scared.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll be back in.
Perfect. Thanks.
Wi-Fi, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. What the hell? I'm trying to see if I recognize anyone. I'm trying to see if I recognize anyone.
The Garen?
Huh? No, like just
maybe Garen takes up 2 seats. Maybe work on the right.
Oh, that's cool, man.
There's more people.
There's like adults too. That's weird.
Maybe they're shared rooms.
Oh, maybe.
Thank God I have PowerPoint on this. I haven't used this in so long.
Dude, I'm already like halfway through mine. Doing QA and asking for summoner names to make it more community-like.
Okay.
I'm so scared. I'm just gonna be like, hi. There's a lot of you. Wow. Access code.
There's the only Wi-Fi available in here is the paid Wi-Fi from the convention center.
Okay.
So they apologize, but I guess it's like
Okay,
that's standard convention center fare.
That should be fine. I can tether from my phone as well, so that's something.
Okay, good. As long as you've got like some kind
I
of
got backup, yeah.
And then they've asked me just to give like a super quick introduction. Just
Sure.
say hey, and then if you guys can provide a little bit of sort of detail about who you are,
Yeah.
that'll help them to because they can actually they're gonna broadcast I guess this live on the web.
Okay.
So you're gonna be super famous. so that way they can key it. And it's John and Samuel, right?
Yeah.
You're
John. Yeah.
Okay. I want to make that they were asking me at the back for the key. And want to be like, so that's great. And then again, I'll just like, so I'll get right out of your way, and then as soon as you guys are good to go, if that works okay for you.
I don't know. Like, did you want? I guess if you were to sit beside us and then just maybe ask us questions as well, that could totally help.
I've got like a list of sort of like general questions about like online gaming, about character classes, about like strategies you like, strategies you hate, best epic fail.
Okay, yeah,
that kind of
totally.
stuff.
Do you want to do that? That works because then that
I
could
have a
also.
lot of fails.
Great. Well, then we can go through like the first kind of like little bit of that where we can kind of guide the conversation in a certain direction, and then when you guys are ready, we'll just turn it over to the crowd and see where they want to take things.
Yeah, for sure. We'll totally do it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
All right.
There's two Garrets.
Two Shannons?
Oh my gosh. I'll start by asking questions like who here is interested in this, who's interested in that, who's here just because of you.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Totally.
You okay? I'm scared.
Yeah, where do you think?
Oh, I'm scared.
You're scared?
So many demons.
Did it get you anything okay?
Oh, we're good.
Good? Okay, I'm going to come back in 5 minutes. We're going to get started, okay?
Good.
Follow-up question was, do you guys want any like official titles underneath your names?
You can put pro gamer on this.
Pro gamer?
Yeah.
I'm not pro anymore.
Ex-professional.
Ex-pro gamer.
That sounds even worse.
I know, it doesn't sound terrible. They said like it's not really that big of a deal, but if there is a title that you'd like, then we can certainly slap it up there.
Not really. It's okay.
Gamer, sandwich,
Really tired.
dog sitter, really tired. I'm gonna see if I can get an idea.
No.
All right, cool. Well, with that
okay.
last piece of information, then I'll just kind of lurk over at the side here.
Okay, for sure.
Be back in a minute.
Oh man, it looks so fancy.
That's it.
Let's go through it quick. I wanna
Okay.
see.
So, League of Legends, mindset, attitude, mentality, play a big role. What's your mentality and how do you present yourself? Skill-based gambling game. League of Legends is like poker. You got, yeah, basically.
Skill-based gambling.
I don't know how to bullshit. Three factors that affect the game outcome: your own input, your mechanics, your decision making, your stuff, in-game events.
I got that. What's volume?
Volume is how much time, how much you play. The more you play, in statistics, it's the more you play. Yeah, so it's. I'm just gonna delete this slide.
There's a blue off in the bottom. Yo, the light's got lights. Where's the light? It has lights on it, so excited. Oh, yo, it's a Loki.
Seems okay if I take this chair. Do you want me to leave it?
Either, it doesn't matter. Either way.
I don't want to look like I'm like joining the team or whatever.
The lower the impact uncontrollable game events have on your play, so trolls, AFK, flamers, the less of an impact they have on your input, the higher chance your success is going to be in gaining ELO.
Well, yeah, that's the point of the system.
Exactly.
The system's not ELO like that, though. It's just capital ELO, just by the way. ELO is just lowercase L. It's not an abbreviation. It's like a guy's last name.
Okay.
I'm gonna peel the bottle of level off my unlicensed water don't have to pay broadcast rights.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking.
Okay.
That's how it's supposed to work. Like
Exactly.
It's not after a few games. It's if you were to play so many.
Exactly.
The average of what it would actually be around.
Yeah.
Even though that's not really used anymore, it's still kind of whatever.
It's still relevant. Yeah.
It's still kind of relevant.
It's the underlying, basically, what it's supposed to be.
Do you guys want to go through your slides early on, or do you want to give that a minute?
I guess we could do that right after intros, basically.
What is going on?
Oh, I can see the back. Yeah.
I'm so scared. I think I took the last one. There might be more.
Oh, that's okay. Check it out.
Wait, can you kill that? Can I look the rest of the slides quickly? So I kind of have an idea of what you have.
Yeah. Hold on. Don't need that. Okay, so basically this is just the intro.
Okay, just go through them quick, just so I can look at them.
Skill-based gambling. 3 factors of venture capital, and then that's it.
I'll tell them like most of this is opinionated, like there's no real like factual thing about this. This is just a mindset to give.
Yeah, this is like, it's not really, yeah, it's just all.
Why are there so many people? What is this?
You guys got a great turn.
This is ridiculous.
I did a panel last year that I was the panelist on, and it was like 11:30 in the morning, and we had like maybe 20 people. It's just like, oh.
Are you ready? Nope, I'm not. Sure. That's as ready as we are.
I'm Rob Mitchelson. I'm the moderator. Yeah, yeah, Mitchelson. Yeah, thank you.
All right, everybody, how you doing? Everybody enjoying the expo? That does not sound like a crowd that's enjoying the expo. Are you enjoying the expo? That's more like it. Okay, guys, we're just going to go over some quick house rules here, okay? There will be no flash photography, but video and still photography is fine, okay? If you have a cell phone in your pocket, please turn it off. We have a robot from the future who will come and destroy it. I believe it is an ED 209, but I don't want to find out. Okay, so turn it off. We don't want it going off in the middle of this show here. Also, on your way out today, we will have some panel surveys available. If you'd like to take one and fill it out, we'd really appreciate it. If you do fill one out, it will be entered into a draw for passes to next year's Expo. Okay? So just grab one of the volunteers on the way out and we'll all have them, okay? I'm going to turn you over to Rob here now, your moderator. Enjoy the show, guys.
Woo! Woo! Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah, get those expectations up there.
No.
I know. Actually, one of the things I often do when I'm hosting something like this, I'm just like, hey, everyone, just join me for a warm-up. Just take a deep breath and lower your expectations. That's much easier. So I'm Rob, and I'm your moderator for the evening, and here are these gentlemen right here. And actually, I thought maybe I can get you to introduce yourselves so that everyone knows who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name's Samuel. We're going to be asking you guys for summoner names later, so I'll start though. My summoner name's Yoon or Yun. I'm an ex-professional player. I played with Complexity Gaming in 2011 between seasons 1 and 2, and now I just kind of sit around and, yeah, play the game like you guys.
I like that you front-loaded your bio with the most exciting part,
and then
wound it down.